In the past 2 decades, the prices of smartphones have increased by a staggering 490%. So I've bought the cheapest legitimate smartphone that I could find, and I haven't used Wish or Temu. At less than $50, you get a full smartphone running Android 14 from a brand you may have likely heard of, TCL. So what exactly does it get you? Well, plastic, cheap hardware, but when it's put together, it doesn't actually feel as cheap in the hand as you might expect. It's obviously not a premium smartphone, but I actually expected it to feel like it would break on its first drop. It does have included a 3.5mm headphone jack. Obviously no headphones are included, but at less than $50, it's somewhat expected. Any cheap pair of headphones or expensive pair will work just fine. I actually like the textured plastic on the back. It makes it feel rather nice to hold and doesn't give me the anxiety that a glossy, slippy smartphone would. With it being Android, there's plenty of apps available, including all your social media apps and games, which can cure hours of boredom. It comes pre-installed with Google's own apps as well, including YouTube, to keep you or your kids entertained for hours. In terms of high-end gaming, the 2GB of RAM may make it a struggle, and do be careful as to how many apps you install, as the 32GB model will fill up rather quickly. The good news, if you do fill it up, there is an option to increase the storage through a micro SD card. TCL knows this phone isn't a powerful device. They've even pre-installed the device with TikTok Lite, a version of TikTok specifically designed for older and lower powered smartphones, aka this one. In terms of the display, it's one area which has seen some significant cost saving. It features a 6-inch IPS LCD display with a resolution of just 540 by 1092. A rather low resolution, sure. Not unusable, but pixels are definitely noticeable. Combine that with its 60Hz refresh rate, it's not exactly a content beast, it's passable. But if this is the level of budget that you're operating within, or you don't really care about high-end stuff, watching YouTube videos, just fine. Wouldn't recommend watching a full movie on it though, because another weak area has to be the speakers. Very tinny and flat, and makes for a rather disappointing experience. If you're buying this phone for a child who wants their first smartphone and will use it for basic social media and YouTube videos, it should be okay. But if you're coming from another smartphone, you might struggle to adjust to the resolution as low as the TCL 501s. It's genuinely all about context. In comparison to other budget end smartphones, the TCL IPS LCD display is poor, but at the price, you can't really grumble. In terms of battery life, you're getting 3000 mAh battery with the TCL 501, and that should be just enough to get you through the day, but that depends on your usage. If you are a heavy user, make sure that you have a USB Type-C cable with you. You'll probably need it, especially during longer usage sessions. To give you a basic idea, I burned through 6% of battery life watching a 20-minute YouTube video on full brightness. If snapping photos is your thing, the camera is rather lacking. You get a 2-megapixel selfie camera on the front and a 5-megapixel camera on the rear with a single LED flash.
This is how raw this clip is. I've not even done my hair for it. But this is a sample of the front-facing camera on the TCL 501.
It's acceptable for basic video calls between friends and family, but make sure you're in a well-lit area. Otherwise, you'll very quickly add some noise into your shot. Is it suitable for social media? Barely, but as they say, the best camera you have is the one in your pocket. And if it's for kids who will be playing around with their friends making funny faces on Snapchat, they're not going to complain. At less than $50, I set my expectations very low. I expected lagging, I expected freezing, but actually didn't experience it to the levels that I expected. For sure, this phone is not the quickest phone in the world, but it's not as bad as you might expect. Gaming might be an issue. I did manage to crash the TCL 501 simply by playing 8-ball pool. That's not the most graphic intensive of games either. Having said that, I rebooted the app and didn't seem to have the same issues. Now you might be thinking, what about the phones on Wish and Temu? How would this stack up? Well, I would anticipate that the TCL 501 would outperform a similar price unbranded phone from Wish or Temu. The 2.2 GHz octa-core processor has done enough to stop me getting frustrated, and I'm an iPhone Pro Max user. Do you know what else has stopped me getting frustrated? The amazing team over at MudUp. MudUp are business contract lawyers that I've been working with for a number of years, and I am more than happy to recommend working with them. The lawyers at MudUp are not your usual suited, booted and stuffy lawyers. They actually take time to get to know you, get to know your business, and this means that they are able to draft and review your contracts, ensuring you and your business are well protected. So who actually is the TCL 501 suitable for? I really see this as being a solid option for those parents who want their children to have a phone in case of emergencies, one they can take to school, etc., and if they drop it or lose it, it's not the end of the world. Whereas a $500 to $1,000 smartphone, I imagine that would hurt quite a bit. Another great audience would be those who work in messy and dangerous environments. For example, if you work in a construction site and worry about crushing your shiny new $1,000 smartphone, the TCL could be a great option to have in your pocket during the workday. And if you put a nail through the screen or you drop it from a roof, it's not the end of the world. If you're looking for a better overall smartphone and you're prepared to spend up to $100, check out my thoughts on the Redmi 14C right here.